Okay, cool. Hi guys, my name is Joseph McCarrick. I studied abroad at Temple University, Rome for the spring 2022 semester. And while abroad, I was part of the Temple University Culture and Identity Envoy program. Being a part of the Culture and Identity program gave me a one-of-a-kind opportunity to reflect on my situation as a lower-income student and show others how I went about navigating that identity. It's great that Temple enables underrepresented students in study abroad an opportunity to be heard through their posts and reflections. I found their posts to be very informative and a great way for students to address their adversities while studying abroad. I was infatuated with learning about the perspectives of others in an Italian and Roman context. Our first event kicked off Black History Month and featured brilliant speakers who discussed growing up as Afro-Italians and the adversities they had faced. Another event talked about Black-owned businesses in Italy and how Afro-Italian business owners went about starting a business in a predominantly Caucasian country. These discussions we had were not only informative, but had wielded some phenomenal conversation amongst peers. There can be a lot of political tension in Italy regarding immigration, and it was fascinating to not only learn about its effect on people, but how they ultimately persevered. As someone who struggles financially, coming to the other side of the world has its difficulties. I was the subject to a tourist trap and struggled to find inexpensive food and travel options initially. That being the case at first, it was easy for me to feel homesick. In Philadelphia, when I don't have money, I can take the train back home and have a home-cooked meal. Being on the other side of the Atlantic, however, you don't really have that luxury anymore. As I became more familiar with Italy, homesickness quickly vanished. I developed a routine of running at the Castel St. Angelo, going to class, working for my work study, taking walks, and eating like royalty despite a very limited budget. I was doing well stretching my finances and finding inexpensive alternatives to make spring break travel possible. During spring break, I went to Sorrento and had a blast. It was after Sorrento that I had a minor hiccup. I was diagnosed with mono. Yeah, mono. In the middle of the pandemic, I got mono. This was a little bit of a struggle because it meant I could not go to a campus for 3 weeks, meaning I could no longer pursue work study, which was a huge help for me financially. Thankfully, I had insurance through Temple, and as soon as those 3 weeks concluded, I was back and better than ever. I visited Cinque Terre, Bari, Lake Como, and had some of the most fun I've had in Europe. Studying abroad was an opportunity unlike any other. Being a part of the Culture and Identity Envoy program gave me the ability to not only explore my identity in more depth, but the identities of others in a global context. One of my biggest lessons I've learned is how important it is to challenge narratives and preconceived notions. For some, challenging the narrative meant being something other than what society expects. For others, it was building a business in a historically white neighborhood. For me, challenging the narrative meant going to Europe coming from a lower income household. It's so important to challenge these assumptions to minimize them and hopefully omit them in the future. In doing so, we can help address inequalities that have often been overlooked. We can help create a new narrative, one that doesn't insist that people are limited to their aspirations just because of their demographic. It was conversations and shared experiences that can assist in this. These events and conversations are ones I will always remember. I wanted to thank Temple University for allowing me to be a part of this program and would advise anyone considering going abroad to seize the opportunity.